I learned very quickly, very early, when I was like 11, that, this thing is very real. And then I don't think I really had my first experiences like of, okay, they see me different until I was, a little bit older, because at that point in time, I had, a lot of Caucasian friends. I had a lot of black friends, from the hood, a good mix. I was the type of person that talked to everybody. Um, but then you will start to see that some Caucasian friends, it was a certain circle that hung around. And as we grew older, I just no longer fit that circle for some reason.
Yeah.
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 So it was very unfortunate. And in that, I'm still grateful because as a black man, I don't tolerate any ignorance. You know what I mean?
Right.
So like the years right now is 2020. The internet is, you can
20,
access anything. Like there's no reason for you to
2021.
be ignorant about, or 2021. I'm sorry. There's no reason for you to be ignorant about anything. I remember an encounter like me and my family here recently. I think Jordan, she was only a few months old. I'm sorry, he's going crazy. You want to say hey?
He wanted to say, hey.
Hey, Logan
is talking.
Here recently, like a few months after Jordan was born, I want to say, I don't even think she was 1 yet. Me and my family, we took a trip down to Florida, and I'm sorry, we went to the beach, right? It was called, I think it was called Santa Rosa Beach or something like that. And man, we walked out on this beach, and first thing we all noticed was there wasn't a black person anywhere in sight. While we were walking, you should have seen it. Like every single person at the beach, all just looking at us. Like we were as we were leaving the boardwalk, like to the street while cars were driving past. We could literally physically see kids in the back and people in the vans and their cars sitting there looking at us as we drove by. And I was like, this is like, there's a big portion of our country that is like this.
Yeah.
Living in ignorance. That is okay, I'm only going to surround myself with what I'm familiar with. So it's hard,
And yeah, it is hard. I keep having to remind myself because of where we grew up. We grew up on the East Coast, and I mean, from New York all the way down to Florida, it's places there it's mostly black people. But at the end of the day, the population of black people in America is minuscule compared to the population of other races. So a lot of times I had to keep reminding myself, because in the small corner of America that I live in, it seems like it would be black people everywhere, but
it really doesn't seem that way.
we don't. I mean, honestly, we're like 20 or even 15% of the population, and that's crazy when I think about it. So a lot of times it helps to make sense as to why some people are ignorant to a lot of our culture, you know what I'm saying? And all they see is what they see on TV, because there's just no black people around. But I think people should definitely have the mindset of being being open to understanding different cultures opposed to what you grew up with, So I think that's a big issue. Like 2020 for me was like a big pivotal point, in race relations. I mean, we've always seen stuff going up, but it really, I shouldn't say it helped, but COVID-19 was something that caused a lens to be focused on a lot of the issues with race relations, because of the fact that everybody was home. Nobody was, most everybody wasn't working, and there was nothing you could do but watch and see what happened to George Floyd. And it really let people see that, there's this man who's a cop who would sit on another person's neck for a minute, for over, not even just the fact that it was 10 minutes, forget that, but even over a minute. I mean, that's crazy, to sit on somebody's neck. And it just, to see that type of treatment, it just helped to highlight a lot of the other things that people may not have. They may have seen it and it was like, oh, that's crazy. But then they went back to their lives and was like, okay, well, I mean, I don't have time to deal with that right now. I'm going to deal with what I'm going through. So I wonder what what the future holds for race relations in this country, because I mean, I know we have a new president now, and we have a black vice president, a lady black vice president, and we hope to see changes. Let's just see what goes from there. That's all we can do. How do you guys feel about? Go ahead, Levi.
Can I say something? I think for me, as a black man, the thing that I'm most frustrated with is the fact that when people get killed, there's always some type of excuse as to why they should have lost their life.
Yes.
George Floyd, he was on drugs or something like that. How does that equate to somebody's life? Breonna Taylor, she messed around with a drug dealer and all this other stuff. How does that equate to losing somebody's life? You know what I mean?
Right.
And you know, that's the type of thing that you know that really infuriates me more than anything.
Yes.
You know, it's wrong. You know what I mean? It's wrong in any situation. You know, if you can detain somebody who is openly has a knife, hostage situation or whatever, and you can detain that person and take them to jail carefully, then you can do the same thing with others. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. With black people.
With black people, 100%. You know what I mean? We are not villains. You know, we are not animals. You know, we're not hostile people. You know what I mean? So I feel like we should not be treated, you know.
We're not inherently hostile. There's some hostile black folks.
Well,
but they're
there are some. We're not
hostile people, period.
Right. They're
Not
hostile
just black
people, period.
That,
Exactly.
you know, and you hear, oh, well, you guys are worried about this black on black crime. Hey, look at me in my eyes right now. Black on black crime is a myth. Okay.
It is a myth.
It does not exist.
Yeah. Because nobody talks about white on white crime.
There's more white on white crime in this country than there is black on black crime. Okay.
Yes,
and we don't go
talks
there.
about that.
It's a narrative. I think a lot of this is, and we probably won't get to it today, but it is a conjunction of media in conjunction with what is going
huge
on.
conjunction.
You know, it's a lot of inflaming and things of that nature, and emotions being played and all that different type of stuff.
In addition, adding that on top of the already preconceived notions that white people believe about us anyway.
Exactly.
So you have to understand, because like when you said, oh, well, George was on drugs. Okay. And had that been a white man, it would have been, him being on drugs would have been classified as a mental health issue. Am I wrong? So if that is the case, and if being on drugs or having a drug problem is truly a mental health issue, and just to say this, I do believe there is definitely an issue. It definitely can be a mental health related, but that needs to be across the board for everyone, not just for not just narrative for certain people. For black people.
The media really inflames a lot of issues that happen in this country.
It does.
Because I mean, honestly, that's why, you know, I'm not really quick to jump on anything that the media puts out about us, because or anything really, because they'll make certain situations and issues, they'll feed the narrative to go a certain way. They do that a lot. Like when, I mean, back in the day when the Brooklyn Five, not the Brooklyn Five, the Central Park Five, the Central Park Five, and they had the issue what was going on, and they were kids. They were looked up. They were vilified. They were vilified for a crime they did not commit, and in the media, and they were their confessions were coerced. And I look at how the media plays a big part in causing people to jump to conclusions on how certain, you know, how people should be judged, and we have no clue what really happened.
Exactly.
We don't know what happened.
And let me say this: when it's a white environment and a black person comes in the vicinity, everyone's on high alert. They're looking. They're like, "What in the world?" Because of what the media puts out about black people.
Exactly.
But let's flip it. Let's say it's a black environment and a white person comes. We don't trip. We don't trip.
We don't.
We don't trip.
They don't trip. They'll walk right in there. They'll walk right into the environment like it's nothing. I mean, look at how you should see how, you know, integrated Harlem has become, or other places that were notably black back in the day, and now it's been gentrified and it's been taken over, and the people aren't scared to go to certain places. I mean, some people are, but I mean, like you said, the media. I wish.
It's top.
In addition to their already passed down preconceived notions. that the media really it
Exactly.
feeds the narrative to what they already believe, because you got to
And that's
understand
Right.
this racism is a taught thing, so
Right.
they're already growing up before they can before these people see anything, especially when you have an area that is predominantly white and it's not diverse. So whatever they're learning at home in their home environment, you have that those things are being taken into their future with them. And then the
Right.
media feeds that narrative. So it's
Right.
not, yes, they play a big part, but it's also what they're learning. Like that clip, there was a girl, white girl, who was trying to explain to her parents about why we were upset and the push for BLM. And you couldn't see them on camera, but they were like, oh, well, Black people are this and this. And she's like, no, that's not it. This, like she's really defying what her parents are trying to tell her about Black people. And who knows where they heard it from, or if they've had personal experience, whatever, but white people in our homes are not villainized like that. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
it really,
That's my whole point.
It baffles me. It baffles me.
That's my whole
Exactly.
point.
And that's
It
the
baffles me
big
to
thing.
no
It's like,
end.
yeah, I can't in my lifetime. I've never heard my parents or my grandparents, anyone close to me, badmouth a white person just because of their color. I mean,
Exactly.
it's been more so now to be like, I mean, not now, but in the past, it was more so just be careful because you just don't know.
Right.
And that's been the issue. Like even now, I've gotten to a place now where because I know, but because there are certain issues or things that have happened in my life where now if I go to a certain place, I'll make sure I'll try to look around and see diversity. Like Levi was talking about, they went to the beach. Like the other day, I was out with some friends and we had the conversation. I forgot how we got onto it, but I was like, I looked around in the place we were in. I was like, okay, I'd like to see that it was diversity in there. And one of the coworkers that was with me, she was like, what do you mean? I was like, yeah, whenever I go out to eat or I go anywhere, I'm going to the mall, whatever, I'm looking around to see if there's other people that look like me.
That's right.
Because especially if it's a place where I've never been,
that's right.
But it was the other day, because I don't know the area, and every area has a different feeling. You don't know what the area really is when you go there. So what the predominant mindset of the area is when you go there. So whenever I go anywhere, I try to see diversity there, because I might be in some place where they might not. I mean, it might be a place where there just aren't any Black people. Sometimes I've been places like that, but there are some places where there's no Black people because they don't like Black people around, or they don't like diversity around.
Exactly.
And I mean, I a couple years ago I went cross country. I took a cross country trip. I just wanted to, and I went through Montana, South Dakota, Wisconsin, and Missouri. When I got up there, when I started driving through there, I was a little apprehensive, because I mean, I've never been there for one, and then I just assumed there's not a lot of Black people in those areas. And I stopped at a couple places. Of course, I mean, I wasn't there long to really gain the full mindset of the people, but the people were okay. They weren't like mean, but I was in areas where the interstate was there, so it wasn't like off to no side area where people could really be where they want.
Ain't no back street where they could drag you off.
I won't no back streets nowhere, and there's certain places where we can't go. It's just what it is.
You can't go after dark either.
You can't go after dark. And I think some people of other races don't understand that. For us, like in some parts of Texas, Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi, we can't go.
Nope.
And
West Virginia.
Virginia.
I remember my grandfather, before he passed away, my uncle's wife, she's from West Virginia, and he went to use the bathroom one good time, and there was a little kid inside the bathroom who had never saw a Black person ever before in his life. My grandfather walks in, and the little kid runs out yelling, "Oh my God, he's going to get me. He's going to get me. He's going to get me."
Oh my gosh.
That's a real thing, like in this country, in the United States of America.
It's crazy.